All right. Welcome to the Escape with Nick, and I am the Namek who has long since forgotten his name, Adam. This is a unique show. We're not broadcasting through our normal parameters. Nick is out of town, and tonight you just have me. Originally, a friend of our show, my brother in law Jason, was going to join us, but he uh, was not. He needed to rest. And so here I am, live and with you. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Um, right off the top of my head, I wanted to talk a little bit about Black Adam. Now, Black Adam's coming out next week. Now, personally, I myself have been a little fatigued with Black Adam news here and there. And I think it's been real easy to get the news of Black Adam confused with seeing The Rock on television left and right for the last 20 plus years, which is fine. I have nothing bad to say about The Rock. But sometimes people who become larger than life tend to invoke some kind of like worry in other people of whether certain source materials are going to be treated well, or are we just going to be hit with some? Is this going to be another The Rock? Is it going to be hard to look at Batman when it's Ben Affleck behind the mask kind of a thing? That's the way it was when Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice was announced. I remember the day they announced Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, and everybody hated it, myself included, actually, because I was just confused. Anyways, that's another topic. But one of the things that I was concerned about, and actually Nick more so concerned about with this movie Black Adam and The Rock being involved in the future of the DC EU, was that will this become something goofy? Will this become something that's just, will it be just a flash in the pan? Will this be the treatment and the correction that the DC universe needs? And from this interview that I saw on YouTube's Jake's Takes today, or it may even have been yesterday, it sounds to me like this is very well thought out. They asked him about the Superman. Now we know that Henry Cavill and him are going to get on screen together at some point, because if you look at The Rock's Instagram and you look at the rumors, they're just not going to not deliver on this. I've been saying that since the topic has come up. But The Rock says this. And this quote was how I was convinced that this material that I love with all of my heart may well be in very good hands. So this is what The Rock said when he was asked about Superman and will he fight Superman. Again, The Rock, who lands the first punch? That's what I think they asked him. He said, well, I definitely think Black Adam lands the first punch. But then he said, but I also said that Black Adam is the most powerful being on this planet. Then he pauses. He says the most powerful being in this universe has been sitting the bench for far too long. And then he goes, he doesn't do this, but he's like, I love Superman. I've loved him since I was a little kid. And I was like, oh boy. Then he started talking about, yeah, of course you want to see Black Adam and Superman fight. He says, but that's something you work backwards from. He goes, right now we're going to focus on showing you Black Adam and the JSA. And I was like, okay, cool. That was enough to say I can walk into this movie with an expectation that the source material is going to be treated well. Did they make a good movie? We'll find out. I will say, as far as casting is concerned, when it comes to Hawkman, I love that actor. So I think that role is in good hands. When it came to casting as far as Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, And Nick actually sent me this uh, little snippet clip of Dr. Fate talking to Clark Kent in Smallville. And that was like really my first introduction to kind of how powerful Dr. Fate truly is. And when I found out that it was going to be the Kent Nelson version of Dr. Fate, played by Pierce Brosnan, my reaction was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I definitely want to see that. So to have the JSA, Justice Society of America, come together, they're fighting Black Adam. There's going to be a Superman thing at the end, as far as we hear. Am I excited about it? Why am I addressing this? Well, it's next week, and I think it's safe for this fan to get excited. And that's exactly what I intend to do. I am going to get very excited for Black Adam, and very much can't wait to see it. Now, before we beat the dead horse too much, and I keep talking about Black Adam, going on and on and on and on. I know that we have had some Kevin Smith type news, um, whereas he had made some comments about Star Wars fans or Marvel fans, and how he wouldn't want to make a Marvel movie because they're tribal and things like that. A lot of those things are true. I don't know if his intention was to attack fans or whatnot, but I don't think. Well, I think surrounded by the right people, that Kevin Smith could make a very skillful comic book movie. Do I think he should write it? No, no, I don't think that he should write it at all. Um, but it got me wondering, would I want to, make something like that? Uh, Not unless you're gonna let me be Rob Zombie. That really Rob Zombie making the monsters. I'd want to make something I would love and then just show it to people and say, "Hey, do you think that this is cool?" I don't think I'd want to jump into a franchise if I were on that level of creative making. But you can dream about it. But I just think it would be a lot more fun to put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, and I don't know. It'd just be for a few. Maybe it's intimate enough for a few. Like The Big Lebowski. It's kind of like that movie came out, and it over time built this cult following, and there's a few. There's this few that love it. Um, Rocky Horror Picture Shows is in the same vein as that, I would say. So I don't know. I don't really think that this genre any longer should be for like the faint of heart if you're going to be a creative. Um, as soon as I started hearing about Kevin Smith's quotes, the first thing I thought of is like the nerd, and we probably got a lot of sports fans in this. We're a lot like sports fans now. You know what I mean? I don't like this team. I don't like that team. I don't like what they're doing. And then there's always somebody, rooting for an underdog. It's gotten very, very competitive. And it does seem like Marvel, though, in my opinion, and I'm not talking about the fans, I'm just talking about my opinion as a Marvel fan, Marvel movie fan, is like they stopped competing. It's like they stopped trying. That's I don't know. Did they get complicit? Um, did they not know they were running out of ideas? Because I guess Marvel, and I know I'm getting off on a tangent here, but the next Black Panther movie is supposed to be the last uh, movie in Phase 4, and so I'm asking, where did it go? Phase 4. I'm at I started off at the beginning of Phase 4, confused, and I'm at the end of Phase 4, confused. Um, so yeah, kind of a bizarre chapter there. As far as Kevin Smith is concerned, though, I agree with him in this much. No, he shouldn't have any involvement in a Star Wars or Marvel or DC film. No, thank you. Moving on. Boy, this show's only 9 minutes long so far, but I guess it's not the same when you don't have you know, that chat back and forth. I'm trying to see here if there is a place to send an invite, but I can't see. I can share the live stream, but I want to get good old Nick here, but it does not appear that I can do that at this moment. But hey, you got half. Anyhow, so moving on, Todd McFarlane and yes, Greg Capullo are teaming up for Batman Spawn or Spawn Batman. I don't know. I don't know the official title, but Nick says he's here in spirit. Hell yeah, Nick, you're the man, brother. We're getting ready to talk some Batman Spawn here, man. The new one coming out. I talked to Jay on the phone this morning about this after I had seen the interview yesterday, and it was an interview from CBR from New York Comic Con, and it had Greg Capullo and Todd McFarlane, and they were talking about their creative process together and how at times, they would be on the phone and saying, yeah, okay, I like what you're doing. Yes, okay, yeah, no, this is what I want. This is what I want. He goes, Greg would draw something up, because then they would send it, and then Todd would then finish his thoughts and finish his writing after seeing the art. Now, that's a lot of how Stan Lee and Jack Kirby operated together, and it's all scripted today, boys and girls. It's all like one big script, and then they hand it to these guys because they're trying to pull in writers who maybe have never even cared about comics, and it seems that seems to be the growing concern. Long story short, though, it was very impressive to hear these two guys talking in the way that Todd describes Greg Capullo. He says he's done more Spawn comics than Todd. That's what Todd McFarlane had to say. He goes, and now he's done a decade of Batman. He says, so now you got the best Batman artist, the best Spawn artist, same guy doing the book. And I think that this is going to be a treat for all of us. I remember when the first issues came out back in the 90s, and damn, it was cool to be a nerd in the 90s. That's how Nick and I met, because he was a Rebel comic book reader. I was reading DC and Marvel because that's all I knew. And then he's like, oh, have you ever read Image? And I was like, Image. I don't read that stuff. I read the real stuff. And then he taught me what the real stuff was when he showed me like Spawn, Gen 13. That was my first exposure to that, was through Nick. And God bless him for it. But when those comic books came out, the Batman Spawn, I remember liking the Image one better. And if I'm not mistaken, in the Image comic books, Batman is watching Spawn from a rooftop, and Spawn chars this guy to death because he was going to do bad to somebody in the alley. And Batman comes swinging down, and he's getting ready to nail him right in the kidney or something like that. And he says, you never feel guilty about playing dirty or hitting or sucker punching or something like that to a murderer. And then he actually hits him, and he ends up getting hurt himself because, he just bashed into a fucking hellspawn. But it was a great comic. Yes, Image for life, Nick. That's right. And man, has Image thrived. Image brought us The Boys, which, whether I like them or not, they're huge. The Walking Dead. What's the new one, Nick? With the father and the son. God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Nick will type it in. He'll remember. But yeah, Image Comics, I can't say enough good things about them. And back in the day, that was it for us. So get a look at the new Spawn when it comes out. New Batman Spawn when it comes out. Invincible. That's what it is. Thank you, Nick. Nick Mott is a friend of the show, everybody. I don't know if you know, but he's one of the biggest supporters of the Escape with Nick and Adam. So, all right, here we go, guys. I am not sure how to input pictures here on a unfortunately on this studio. So I'm just going to say a big happy birthday to Prince Adam of Endor of Eternia and Adora of Eternia. They turned 40 this year. It is the 40th anniversary of Masters of the Universe Classic or Masters of the Universe, and I had a action figure review prepared for you um, for the Shira figure that's coming out or that is out, but that will have to wait for the next episode. Also, in the next episode, we'll be much closer to Halloween, spooky season. So you will be able to get a load of this here 2 pack, at a much more intimate look. I shot him 6 times in the heart. He's not a man. Damn, look at this. I didn't even see the back of this. That is crazy. Crazy good. So, number one fan besides Jerry. I love it. Yeah. Well, we are at 16 minutes here. 16 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm not going to go ahead and flip myself upside down and embarrass myself. I've got nothing else to talk about here tonight. I talked a little bit about Kevin Smith. I told you about The Rock and Black Adam. I hope I brought you a little bit of hope. I'm excited about it. This is just a better format when we bounce off of each other. But thank you so much for watching tonight. I hope you found this news helpful. And I am going to work on a better show for you guys later. Take care. Love you, Planet Houston.